are in your benefits and all your benefits, not just your medical plan. Today, since we are starting off the new year, and Happy New Year to everybody, I wanted to ask you to debrief about how your open enrollment went, what you would like to see for next year, and maybe a little bit different questions about how to think about open enrollment. So I think the main question to ask, perhaps the 30,000-foot question, is how do we make our benefits division? And it's such a large item on your budget that maybe you could look at it as a division. How do we make it operate like the rest of our business operates? Um, are you a very high touch operation? Are you a very high tech operation? Do your benefits follow that? Meaning, can you maneuver just about everything online or on an app? Or are you more comfortable on paper? And if you're on paper, how do you get to a more technical space? How do you get to the point where you can do enrollments and you can send data securely and electronically and nobody has to touch a piece of paper, and you can systemize the process a bit further so that you can administer more effectively and take a little bit more time for the things that you do need to do and cut out the busy work that I don't think anybody likes to do anyway. So how can you do that? Try to think about that a little bit now, so that when you start to have your conversations, if you renew in the fourth conversation, you should be starting your renewal conversations in July. So maybe think about what went well, what didn't go well, and what would you like to see, and maybe throw out what happened and just think about what you'd like to see and plan for that. And maybe just take a few notes, spend 5 or 10 minutes and move on, because nobody has time, right? So take a couple of notes, and then when you start thinking about it again in July, you'll have the notes and you'll be ready, and you'll have a record of what happened in the fourth quarter. We've heard horrible things, wrong rates showing up on rate sheets, and enrollments for mid-sized employers still being done on paper, and enrollment meetings being moved because people were too busy to show up. And we've also heard fabulous things where technology has finally stepped in and filled the gap. So decide where you want to be, and take some notes, and then revisit that when you're ready to start making decisions. And I would encourage you, if you're renewing the fourth quarter, July is a good time. Maybe June. We like June, but that's just us. Do we need an easy button? If you're a mid-sized employer, maybe you have 25 or 30 employees, you have a lot on your plate and not necessarily a full HR staff. It may be that you just need something that can be easy, and your definition of easy, because my definition of easy may be different than your definition of easy. So what is that? Do you want to dig in and create value? Do you have a mechanism to determine high value care? Is that important to you? I've spoken with several employers recently, and we've done it a few times now, actually, where we have integrated some mechanisms to help employees access high value care locally. And I don't mean we're going to find you a high value surgeon when you need your knee replaced, because yes, we are going to do that if you like it or not. But do you have a high value primary care physician? Do you have access to somebody 24 hours a day who can help, so you can help a human, right? Talk to a person who can walk them through something? Or do you have that on site? We've received a number of requests for on-site clinics from our clients lately, and we're in the middle of installing a number of them. And there's many different ways to do that. The employers that are doing that look at their budget and say, why? And then they look at what is happening with their employee populations, and they see that it's hard to access a primary care physician. Maybe you don't get in for 2 or 3 weeks, and then if you have the flu, you're done, right? If you have a sinusitis, you're done, or you're in the hospital because you have pneumonia after that time, right? So you're not preventing a lot of the little things. And a good on-site clinic or a good direct primary care physician relationship can accommodate about 80% of somebody's medical needs. So all the everyday stuff, right? I have sinusitis. Maybe I have COVID. I need a test. I think I have the flu. Maybe I have RSV. I cut myself, or I sprained something, or I fell and I'm not sure what happened, or I have this weird thing and I don't know what to do. All of those things can be addressed in a primary care situation. Kind of side effects of that are lower healthcare costs, which I talk about a lot. I understand that's not important for everybody, but the other two side effects of that are a healthier workforce, because if they're going to get the regular things checked and they're having some conversation about what's going on, you can get to the conversations about, are you sleeping? Because sleep is important. Are you moving? Do you have movement in your day? Movement in your day is incredibly important for all of the metabolic syndromes, and for your mental health. And are you eating properly? Are you eating some vegetables at some point in time? Those kinds of conversations percolate through a number of areas, not just budget, but mental health on site. I don't have a client who is not having an on site anxiety issue. People are incredibly stressed, and who can blame them? So it will help with mental health, it will help with workforce engagement, and you can use it as a recruiting retention tool. So certainly not right for everybody, but a wonderful, cost-effective way to make sure that people have high value care. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I want you to take 5 or 10 minutes and think about these three things. How do we make our benefits plan work like the rest of our business? Even Sophie agrees. So do we want to engage in high value care, make sure our people have high value care? Is our enrollment process correct? Do we have the process we need? Can we talk to people when we need to talk to people? Can we engage with technology when we want to engage with technology? And do we need an easy button, or do we want to extract more value? And that extracting more value, that's done by vendors, not by you. Just have different conversation with your vendors. So think about those couple of things, put those notes aside, pull them out when you're ready to have your renewal discussions, and happy